I'm coming, you guys. You're so funny. I'm coming. I'm not eating. Actually, I just finished dinner not too long ago, but I'm here. I'm here. You know I'm always late. Wizard is never late. Come on in, guys. One and all, a special late night. Late night for me, because my brain basically shuts off at 9 o'clock. And I was up so late last night. I'm sure many of you were. But come on in, one and all. I just wanted to chat with you guys, see how you're doing. I am here in your Patriot Professor's den. I'm exhausted. I was up to the wee hours, and but I wanted to have a little debrief with everyone here. I've been getting lots of emails and chats of some people really concerned. Actually, some people a bit fired up, going, "Come on, guys, it wasn't that bad. There's some amazing things still going on here." And I thought, you know what? Let's open it up. Maybe we'll even do it tomorrow night. Let's have some live streams. Let's just chat. Love to hear some of your comments and so forth. I do have Super Chat up. So I don't have a moderator today. Josh is not with me. He had a prior commitment, and I told him we'll do this tomorrow night. But with Katie Hobbs, with Kari Lake surging like she is right now, she's absolutely crushing it in Arizona. I thought it'd be fun. Let's Dick Morris. I'm going to reference Dick Morris a couple of times here. I'm going to give him a shout out because he did have a very good video today in his lunch alert on how what he called a red wave, and then I'll explain what he means by that. He said a red wave is still sort of going on. Yeah, Super Chats are up. Jack, thank you so much. Again, I don't have a moderator, so I might be messing things up a little bit here. Little Big Nate sent me here. Celine, thank you so much. Good to hear from you, Celine. Great to hear from all of you. Top chat. Let's see. I'm looking at all the different stuff I can do here. Live chat. Yes, I know messages are available. Okay, all right. All right, let me see here. Let me check if I can do a little something on this computer. I probably can. I wish I'd have one of you guys as my moderator, and you can take care of all this stuff for me because I'm just so incompetent and idiotic. Let's see. Let me see if I can do anything here. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Live. Maybe I can. Okay. Kari Lake surging. Does that mean I can get into this from behind? Chozo Ghost, longtime casual viewer here, former Vote Blue. Let me get you here. Former Vote Blue no matter who to constitutionalists and Second Amendment absolutists. Great journey. I'd love to hear about it. Don't really ally myself to either party per se. You're post-partisan, Chozo. You are the future. I mean, that's where a lot of people are going. That's what's so awesome about the Patriot movement, MAGA movement, is it is post-partisan. We have to remember so much of Trump's support are actually Democrats, right? White working class. Thank you, Donnie. Very, very, very kind of you. Let's see what we got here. White working class shifting over. I don't blame you if you never trust another Minnesota election again. Thank you, Lisa. I'm so effing distraught. Change my mind. Let me see. Let me get Wololo. It's good to see if DeSantis doesn't support Trump as vice president. The fight between Trump and DeSantis fans are going to divide the GOP. I think he will. I think the dream team is still on. I don't think we have to worry about that. Because in the end, the data is coming in, and Trump didn't do if anything, Trump did great, especially in New York with Lee Zeldin. We'll get into that. So I think that's a done deal. We'll see. Do you have any advice for us Patriots and Georgia? We can bring together the Libertarians and the Rhinos to win the Senate. Rena, I think the Libertarian in there is going to naturally break for Herschel. If they were already supporters of the Warlock, I think they wouldn't have gone with the Libertarian. They would have gone with the Warlock. I think they'll go with Herschel. Advice would be really in the end, if you know some of those Libertarians, I mean, just think, where are you most accepted? Ask John Stossel. John Stossel found that he was being shouted down constantly. Eeyore. Somebody just put out Eeyore's my spirit animal. Let me see if I could bring up those spirits a little bit. because they're not that bad right now, guys. That's Stephen Con. Come on, Stephen. Yours my spirit animal. I get it. I know what you mean. I mean, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. We didn't see the massive tsunami we were all expecting, especially when the Florida returns were coming in. But nevertheless, yeah, just ask them, where do you feel most at home? Who's going to be more tolerant of your views, the woke left or conservatives, right? MAGA conservatives. Where your home is Big Tent patriot conservatism. As a matter of fact, if you think it through, I mean, libertarianism is a form of retraditionalization, right? The nice fancy word we use all the time here. Retraditionalization is this notion that we're returning. We're going back to timeless values that aren't relative to, the age that we're in or anything like that. We're going back to timeless values such as constitutionalism, like a libertarian would want us to. Ooh, we got a big one here from Eric. People called this in 2020. You can't have fair, open elections when you conduct early voting. We're going to talk about this right tonight. Voting by mail, absentee ballots, and voting in person. Election day used to be just that. You vote on election day. So, Eric, this is where you nailed it. This is where, Deonra, yes, Kari Lake is coming back. It's going to be amazing. It's really, by the time I think we're going to bed tonight, she should be in the lead, and I don't think she's gonna let go of that lead. Eric, that's the analysis that's coming out more and more. The analysis that's coming out is it wasn't Trump, it wasn't DeSantis per se, it wasn't even Biden. I'm playing with or toying with. I'm really curious what your guys' view is on this. It wasn't even Biden's, blood red speeches scaring enough people. In the end, it was the mail-in voting. The mail-in voting is sort of like a new normal that the Republican Party has not caught up with. And we need to talk about that. Bayo, why is no one talking about Project Veritas in videos? I'm hearing about that, and we're going to find that out. I'll find out about that tomorrow. I will definitely look at that. If that's Philly, I mean, I'm sure they caught him red-handed. I've been told Trump can't run with DeSantis because they vote. No, that's not true. If I'm incorrect, please let us know. I believe that is Robert Barnes talked about that. That is not actually true. Was the red wave just wishful thinking by pundits and pollsters, or some other factors in play? Let's get into that a little bit, because I have some data here. Yeah, more data, right? Oh, great. Well, this is post-mortem data here, but this is from the Cook Political Report. The Cook, and we could talk about too, just Kari absolutely rocking it, but the Cook Political Report has confirmed that the analysis, the bipartisan analysis that we went with, was right. It was a Republican +6 election day turnout. Republican +6. Republicans almost took the House in 2020 with a reported Democrat +3 election day turnout. And so Dick Morris is arguing if you put 2020 and 2022 together, and this isn't stretching, I get where he's saying, because 2018 was the last time you had a big Democrat wave like that. So they pick up 40 seats or whatever. If you combine 2020 and 2022 with our estimated final tally, that's about a 30-point swing from 2018, okay? Again, with a Democrat +3 election day, the first one, and a Republican +6. Crypto, I love this. We achieved our main objectives. We'll take the House. We'll take the Senate. That's key. And I think you're right. We wanted to send a message. We wanted to crush them. And we're pissed that we didn't. We're pissed that someone like John Finsterman was actually voted in. You saw in Pennsylvania, they actually voted in a dead guy. You didn't even have to be alive to win this election. That's how insane these guys got. We have a +6 election day turnout in places like Florida, North Carolina, Texas, Oklahoma, Kentucky, blowouts. Absolute Ohio, Iowa, blowouts. Absolute blowouts. But in blue states, and in Wisconsin, and in Michigan, and in Pennsylvania, and they thought Arizona and Nevada, It's not a blowout. I just want to get these before I lose them. Fox News is pitching Trump as damaged the GOP. Fox News is owned by Murdoch. Of course they're going to do that. They're rhinos. I've been crying since this morning over all this. I'm really hurting. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. I don't know. Hopefully, yeah, Lisa. Yes, we do know what to do, Lisa. What about Mark Fincham? He's going to be riding the coattails, as I understand it. If it's a 20-point margin for this last drop off that we've had, this massive drop off, what was it, 400,000 drop off? If it's a 20-point margin because it's election day votes, Fincham should do this. Absolutely. Jack Lynch, I'm a Trump fan and voted, and of course, Blake Masters as well. I'm a Trump fan and voted for him both times, but I don't want the drama. I get you, Jack. I get you. And right now, the drama is intense because of just just what we've been going through the last 12 hours or so. Oh, Mike Bricksters, thank you. Thank you for that gift. Very kind of you. Yeah, they didn't turn out in the Rust Belt like we thought. People were not energized in the Rust Belt. Yeah, well, Oz certainly didn't energize them. And then the question is, why didn't Mastriano? He seemed to, but he lost so badly. By the margins were so overwhelming in eastern Pennsylvania, and of course that's because the Republican Governors Association abandoned them like the vile snakes that they are. DeSantis 2024, Bridget Denise. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think DeSantis is going to be a part of this. It's going to be interesting how. But anyway, what we're finding is that 6-point margin couldn't overcome the massive mail-in early ballots that came in blue states and in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and even to a certain extent Arizona and Nevada. Although it looks like there weren't enough in Arizona and Nevada, the red wave in Arizona and Nevada really seems to be happening. It seems to me we're seeing a Florida-like situation there. My Bricksters, thank you very much. Balls in the holes. Project Veritas, yes. Yes, highly illegal stuff. Yes, that should be up, right? It must be up on YouTube. So if it is, definitely. Yeah, we all need to be checking that out. That's Philadelphia, if I recall. Gosh, notorious. Absolutely. I mean, historically, absolutely notorious. Yeah, Jimmy Payne, Dr. Turley Mastriano lost because GOP establishment left him hanging. This is why for a lot of people, look, in the end, this wasn't Trump. This was the GOP establishment. The establishment just ran a horrible campaign. They have not come to terms with the new normal, that huge mail-in ballot dumps are the new normal in very key states. Not you don't have to worry about Florida. You don't have to worry about Texas. You don't have to worry about Ohio. You don't have to worry about Iowa. But you do have to worry about Michigan. You do have to worry about Pennsylvania. You do have to worry about blue states. Should Trump DeSantis run DeSantis VP? Why can't we count as fast as Florida and Texas? Vladik, you're so right. Welcome to our third world counting. Yes, I'm a big fan. I think that's a dream ticket, Trump DeSantis. Hello from Madison, Wisconsin. We don't get noticed much here, but Wisconsin reflects the country often in my lifetime. Madison, the capital, almost went red, but certainly did. What is his name? Evers pulled it off, but your legislature's dominated by Republicans, so it's awesome. I think you're right when you said the abortion issue is more of an issue than we thought it would be. I guess if we have to lose today, we could take the L for all of those unborn children. That's a beautiful sentiment. It seems to have been an issue in particular states, and that seems to be the key. Again, it's very regional elections right now, which is strange for us because generally speaking, if something's rocking in Ohio and Florida, it's going to rock everywhere else. But that's not the case anymore. What are the 250,000 votes not yet counted in Pennsylvania that were mailed out with ID verification? That's interesting because, as I understand it, Mastriano is not conceded yet until everything's accounted for and until they're verified. No, you don't know where I live. I live in Minnesota. I think we were effed. I don't want to leave my son, but I can't handle this. I know what you mean, at least in that sense. My heavens, I have family ties here in very blue Delaware. Yes, effing Minnesota. I'm with you. I'm with you, girl. It is rough. Minnesota is disappointing all the time. It's almost there, and then it just falls apart. Liam Fox, okay, so how do we get rid of this mail-in voting? I don't know if we can get rid of it. So this is the key. I don't know if we can get rid of it, but I think we're going to have to learn to adopt it in some way, right? We're going to have to be able to be as crafty with it as they are. Dr. Steve Dems have to cheat at Virginia Beach. Here we got rid of Luria. Good. Yes. Virginia Beach, my daughter went to school in Virginia Beach. Yeah, you got a lot of Democrats around there, don't you? GOP establishment hates their own base. Shame. You're on to something, Deanna. Unfortunately, it's true. It's called being a part of a nationalist populist light party as opposed to a nationalist populist right party. The light is a very strong MAGA base, rank and file, but a total rhino leadership, totally, completely sold out to the political class. We have to do a better job with our youth. Voters 18 to 30 overwhelmingly voted Democrats. Gen Z, you got it. They have no real life experience yet. They've been radicalized. Our education has radicalized our kids. That's what we've got to understand. And not one damn Republican did anything about it until Ron DeSantis. Part of the magic of DeSantis and why he is such an alluring figure right now. Our kids have been radicalized in K-12 and four-year degree education, and we've got to do something about it. Trump, towards the end, was talking about bringing back patriotic education. It's kind of I'm an Xer, so it's the kind of education you still had in the late 70s and early 80s, where we learned all about our founding fathers and Nathan Hale and all that great stuff. And all of that has been ripped apart. That's going to have to come back, or else we're not going to have a culture. The Greeks would call it a paideia. If you do not initiate your kids into a culture, they're going to tear it apart. Stephen Kerr, blue cities blowing it for red states. Balkanization is on the way. Stephanie Kerr. So that's my if I recall, first video today. That is a concern here, that if we do not adjust to this new reality of mail-in voting in particular states, it's key. It's not an issue in Florida. It's not an issue in Texas. Not an issue in red states generally. Blue states and a couple of these swing states. Until we adapt and until we create our own strategy for that, we're going to have +6 Republican turnouts, and it's not going to matter in Pennsylvania. That's what we're going to, and this is why in the end, it's not Trump. You may not like, I get it, no problem, but it's not Trump. It was the Republican leadership. And they're the ones, it's McConnell, it's Andy McCarthy, it's you name it. They just did not do what they needed to do to organize a great win like Gingrich was able to do, for example, in 94. My Bricksters, thank you for that gift. Bayo, what we learned last night is DeSantis is the model Republicans should follow. Anything less is hurting the party and themselves. Yes, Bayo. Yes, definitely. He is taken. How do you even argue against that? Amen. There's not an argument. My problem, though, is I do think that we have to be a little careful because Lee Zeldin did great in New York. He did better in New York than any Republican since Pataki. And he never turned his back on Trump. Trump endorsed him. They were buds, and New York hates Trump. So I think we have to be careful not to read too much into this in terms of, was this a person? Was this some kind of issue that people had with Trump personality and so forth? It may, in the end, just have come down to the idea that the mail-in balloting, early voting, by Democrats creates such a margin because they've obviously tapped into more than Democrats. They've tapped into the unlikely voter. They've tapped into the disinterested voter who have somehow gotten ballots from Democrats. They've filled it out somehow. On behalf of the Democrat, all perfectly legal as I could see, all perfectly legal, and they sent it back to the chain of custody center, as it were, where it belongs, and they've amassed these margins like they did in Pennsylvania that turnout, a +6 Republican turnout, can't overcome. So that's the strategy now. What do we do? What kind of strategy do we employ to negate and nullify that early vote advantage? Because I don't think we're going to get rid of mail-in voting. I don't think that's going to happen. Not in blue states. It's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen in swing states. Some of these swing states like Pennsylvania, that's just, again, gone very blue. Mike King, Dr. T, I think Trump-Gabbard is a much more appealing ticket. Trump-Gabbard, you may be on to it. I've heard that. That is such an interesting ticket because, again, it's tapping into the disaffected Democrat. But Gabbard also has to prove her bona fides to a lot of Republicans. But we have to remember the massive swing of white working class voters in the rural areas. They're all Democrats, all of them. Democrats for years. So you're on to something. You're on to something. We'll have to look at that one. That might be a dream ticket. Let's see. Sorry if I'm missing any of yours, guys. Forgive me. Mitch McConnell and Andrew McCarthy, Mitt Romney types, are the albatross around the neck of patriots. They need to go. By the way, happy birthday, U.S. Marine Corps. They do need to go because they don't care about it's beyond they don't care. They despise, they disdain the rank and file. They don't know how to talk to them, including their advisors. Remember, once you get money from Mitch McConnell, once you get money from McCarthy, that comes with strings attached. That brings a whole slew of advisors who are getting their six figures, right? It's a business model. That's why people get into this. And if you're Mastriano and you refuse to take things like that from, say, the Republican Governors Association, they won't give you a dime. Mail-in votes are the shenanigans. How do you counter that? That's going to be the fundamental question. That is going to be the research. Part of the things I think we're going to dedicate ourselves to the next couple of years. How do we beat them at their own game? Because if we do that, I think we're undefeatable. Sailing Starcatcher, thank you so much. David Ruck, our power should come from bottom up. Absolutely. The change starts with us. Too many people know too little and so rely on officials. I worked in the Capitol for a rep. How would you suggest we bring effect to others? I love it, just the way you're doing it. But it is going to require some education. Not to be cheap, share this channel with them. Share there's so many good channels out there. Share this channel and other channels with them. They're going to need to have a paradigm shift to understand that being a patriot is not a spectator sport. Being a patriot is being a participant. You got to be in the game. You've got to be in the game. And if you're in the game, that's by definition bottom up. Need to watch Mike Lindell's flow charts. All right, very good. I will. I've heard about them. Something is probably happening in Arizona. We'll check that out. Mitch McConnell is to be removed from leadership. He chose to spend money in a way to not support Trump picks. It's absolutely right, just to appease his ego. He screwed us. Yes, he would rather be in the minority than be pushed out of leadership position. Although word is coming out now, of course, with Josh Hawley, who is openly saying he needs to go. A couple of others I heard are saying it. Rick Scott is already being put forward as an alternative. And we're already starting to see, I think Steve Scalise is going to be challenging Andy McCarthy. Fire Mitt Romney's niece, Rona McDaniel. Oh, Rona McDaniel is a piece of work. She needs to go as well. Again, they're all interconnected into the same kind of business model. That's the problem. And I think that's what we find. That's exactly what we find is so sleazy. Let's see. Oh, Lost in Phoenix. Dr. T, your midterm analysis has been awesome. Kari Lake should pull out the win. Absolutely. Here in Arizona, right? Arizona's not Pennsylvania yet. No, it is not. It is not. And because it doesn't appear that they have the margins in the early voting, number one, that Pennsylvania does. And number two, it appears you do have a Florida-like red wave going on. What we've got going on here in Arizona, it's very, very interesting. You've got, let's see, I've got some notes all scattered around here. You've got a huge dump of ballots that came in. It's about 400,000 ballots that came in, I believe, late last night, early this morning. of those 400,000 ballots, and as I understand it, that is it. That's all accounted for. We'll see, right? But that's it. It's a 400,000 ballot dump. Of that, nearly 300,000 are election day ballots cast on election day, dropped off on election day. It's about 275 to be exact. 125,000 were mailed in previously, so they were early vote by mail ballots. The early vote by mail, the 125, that obviously was going to be big for the Democrat. But the nearly 300,000, the 400,000, that's favoring Kari Lake, and we're already seeing it, as we all know. In some measures, not everywhere, but in some places, an 8-2 advantage. I mean, it's been astonishing. So she has been tearing away at Hobbs' lead. Hobbs had like 100,000, I forget how many hundreds of thousands vote lead she had over Kari Lake last night, because they counted all the early votes first. And it looks inevitable now Kari's going to take the lead. I think last I looked in the New York Times poll, I've got it right here. It is an 8,000 difference. So Kari is absolutely rocking it. Gone from like 100,000 down to 8,000 in a day. So she's going to take the lead, Katie Hobbs. And if that lead is big enough, she should be able, like 20 plus points lead in the ballot drop, within the ballot. So if she's winning 20% by a 20% margin, that should be enough to take Carrie Blake Masters, Mark Fincham, and the like. Again, we'll see with that. But it looks like Kari Lake's a done deal. It looks like Kari Lake will win by about 3 percentage points. That's what I've heard from a few analysts. And then, Blake Masters, it's going to be a lot tighter, but he'll get in there. That's if Kari Lake has that big enough lead. So that's what it seems like we're looking at here. So thank you, Lost in Phoenix. Very appreciated. David Rook, our power should come from... Oh, I'm sorry. Got you, David. Got you, Lisa Bailey. I want to leave Minnesota for a state that reflects my values. But like I said, I don't want to leave him, I believe my son, but I need happiness too. My son won't leave, but how do I decide it's time? That's interesting, Lisa, because I'm in the same boat in a way. I mean, if you can't, I mean, one option. I mean, if you've got the cash, maybe if you can live in one place for 3 months, 4 months, half a year, something like that. But yeah, in the end, if it's your sanity, you may just have to do it. You may have to bite the bullet, or use it as a time to pray and to use your time in Minnesota as a time as sort of a God's sandpaper to shape you and form you. So as to be able to cling to what is good in the midst of darkness. And that is what forms the greatest sense of character. Keep in touch with me, because I want to talk to you more about that. You're inspiring me on that one. All right. Boy, these are really coming. Thank you guys for all these super chats. God bless you. Thank you. Dr. Steve Rock Dog. Dr. Steve is a Cold War vet and Desert Storm vet. Thank you for your service, Rock Dog. If we lose the military to woke BS before 24, we lose the country. I agree with you. We need action soon by GOP. I agree with you. I mean, I think in one sense we've got the Patriot movement, the Patriot militia movement, that is a parallel, literally paramilitary, but nothing replaces our armed forces. So I'm with you, Rock Dog. We've got to do something about that. Time is short. Dr. Steve, have you heard anything on a decision from South Carolina on state legislation? It's the only one that make election laws. I have not, and I will keep up. Please keep me reminded of that, and I will look to see what's going on there. Oh, my Kiwi, Jerome Phillips. God bless you. Thank you, sir, for that gift. Brock Linville, I think Kennedy, Louisiana, should be majority leader. It would be like Comedy Central. Don't you love him? I love him. Is it John? I'm trying to remember his first name. I always think of John Kennedy. He is just so funny. Absolutely so funny. Has such a witty way with language. Republicans got to reach Gen Z and the issues that matter to them on their social media. Plus 22 for Dems. Dems had a major get out the vote on TikTok. Again, this is where Republican leadership, not Trump, Republican leadership failed. Absolutely. And keep in mind, too, statistically, we get 1% more conservative every year of life after the age of 26. I don't know what happened to Bernie Sanders. Frankly, we need candidates that will oppose anti-whiteism, elitism, and white erasure. Yes, of course. Nobody should be erased. Kane, right or wrong, the establishment Republicans will use the narrative coming out of this election to justify blocking Trump in 2024. It's already happened. Just tune on to Fox and see Karl Rove. It's not going to work, but again, because of the divide between the people and the permanent political class. Big Uranium, thank you, sir. Very kind. Flytrap Guy. We must remember that God allows people to be in power. We must not lose hope. Amen. There's a reason, right? Romans 13. I'm thankful we were given a great 4 years under Trump. Earth shall pass away, but God's word stands. Amen. It's beautiful. And again, I love your perspective. You're keeping that eternal perspective, relativizing everything temporal in light of an eternality that never fails and that never dies. There's nothing like it. Jordan Peterson says it's absolutely essential for psychological health, right? The very practical argument for it. Devin Waddle, thank you so much for your gift. Raymond, thank you for your gift. Very, very kind. TW, sorry, Dr. Steve, that is the Supreme Court. Are you talking about South Carolina or North Carolina? North Carolina, there was a flip. North Carolina now, it's 7-2 or whatever the numbers are. Conservatives have a supermajority in the Supreme Court, finally, because it's been a liberal Supreme Court for ages. But I have not checked in with South Carolina, so I'll have to check on that. Thank you for that. Thanks, Dr. Steve, for everything. Jonathan is coming from Jonathan. After the midterms, can you coach us on a Patriot strategy leading on to 24? Can have another Pennsylvania-type loss? Absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, I think Elon Musk is going to be key in this with his takeover of Twitter and the Patriot takeover of Twitter, because we'll have our own, the single biggest instant messaging system on the planet in our favor. So we'll be able to construct narratives in a way over the next 2 years we haven't been able to do just in limited ways in alt media. So I think that's huge. Also, his promise to go nuclear on any advertisers. He's going to have a publish and shame campaign, he said, on any advertisers that continue to boycott Twitter because of its free speech policies. He's going to have a boycott policy. He's going to advocate a boycott policy towards them, which by its nature will create boycott alternatives. So we're going to see the alternative, the parallel economy explode, I think, in the next 2 years. So that's going to be very exciting. And then in the midst of that, we formulate political strategies for the win that have to deal with the mail-in voting. That's key. If we don't deal with mail-in voting, we might as well just phone it in. Let's see. Into night. Hi, Cuban here. DeSantis was nobody in this state. The reason why we vote DeSantis here in Miami is because Trump, amen, into night. We had Trump flags and T-shirt. It was Trump who was in our heart, not DeSantis. That's so freaking true, because it started, the revolution into night, didn't it start in 2020? It didn't start in 2018, and it didn't start in 2022. Although, my gosh, thank you. God bless you guys in Miami-Dade. But it started in 2020. Thank you. That is such an important reminder. That is so good. God bless you, my dear friend, my brother. I love seeing our coalition, our patriot, our populist coalition thrive with more and more people. Miami-Dade, I'm just so excited about that. Broward County going red. Absolutely amazing. Tony Weston, thank you, sir. Very kind of your gift. Boy, guys, I'm not doing a bad job. I'm keeping up with this stuff, huh? Joy Vendale, Minnesota, except metro area, needs to secede and become East Dakota. I looked at the map today. It's all red for the exception of metro area. Absolutely. The Twin Cities. It's all red. It is a thing we're dealing with where the deurbanization. People are leaving the cities and they're going into the suburbs and exurbs, and they are adopting defensive politics. Again, they don't want the rot that they left to come in, so they're voting patriot. But the early voting numbers are too strong, and places like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, Michigan, and just the population right now, the ratio hasn't shifted yet in Minnesota. If it does, it's over. If it does, it's over. If we keep deurbanizing, we will be a rural-based politics. That's many ways how Glenn Youngkin won. Women without college degrees voted for him by 75%. And they were part of the overall massive vote for him of non-college educated voters, who are 60% of the population in Virginia. So 55, 60%. So when 75% of the population is voting, when 60% of the population is voting around 75% one way, now they're writing the rules, not urban cosmopolitan centers. So you're right. Absolutely right. Secession talk is going to be big over the next couple of years. I mean, inevitable. It's already started. I've read several articles. The only way out of this is through secession. So we'll be talking a lot about that. That's obviously the balkanization that we're talking about earlier today. Marie Moore, thank you for your gift. Oh, Jean-Judy, thank you for your gift. That is so kind of you. Thanks for being you. Well, thank you. You make me very, very humble. Humbled. You didn't make me humble. Make me very humble. Not intimidated. Amen. Love it. I love your title there. Love your channel. Tucker just said the good thing about Fetterman winning is that he can be the Dem 2024 candidate since he fits the profile. I have seen, they've been wanting to get rid of Kamala. So can you imagine Biden Fetterman? That would be the best. I mean, it is a joke. It is a joke. I mean, it's a sad joke. It's a tragic joke. But obviously the fact that he was elected, I mean, everyone's kind of going, yeesh, on that, even on the left. Mitchell Ryan, I'm definitely disappointed about what happened today, but no matter what, I still love this country and what it stands for. That is a beautiful statement, Mitchell. Very beautiful statement. Again, you're putting things in perspective, and that, I think, is something we need to do. We can get very emotional over politics. It's easy to get very emotional over politics, and we will. We'll be emotional for a while. But after a while, we'll settle down. All right, we did well. We won, but we didn't kick ass. And how do we kick ass next time? That's what we're going to have to be talking about. Teresa Watson, it looks very suspicious when the current Secretary of State, Hobbs, is in charge of running the election and is a candidate. Hobbs should have recused. You think that's a conflict of interest, Teresa? Psh, conspiracy theorists. Ugh, knuckle draggers. Yes, of course it's absurd, but it's just par for the course. They don't care about those things. They don't care about playing fair. They don't care about any of that. I mean, they vote for dead people. I see dead people, right? This is what we're going to have to deal with over the next cycles of elections. That's exactly the kind of stuff we're going to have to deal with. Stuart the Brit. Stuart the Brit. Sir Knight Turley. Oh, I've been knighted. I have been knighted. Where did you go? Thank you. Oh, very kind of you for the pounds sterling, sir. Have a John Smith on my behalf. I always want to say have a John Smith on me, but that's, of course, a way of saying me paying for it. I'd be happy to pay for it. But, yes, have a nice pint of John Smith for me. Yeah, we can't get it here in the States, unfortunately, and I loved sipping John Smith when I was out there in Durham and Dunham. Just south of Scotland. So, this is key, gang. I think in the end, I don't know if you know too, we did more or less technically flip the House already. So we got our 6 seats that we needed. I think we only need 5 because there was 8 separating us, 2012 to 2020. So we technically flipped the House. We just have to hold on to the rest of the seats. But we're projected pretty safely to get about 224 seats. That is, if you bring in 2018, that is a 30-point swing our way since 2018. So if you bring in the 2020, I hope I said 2020, that's a 30-point swing since 2018. And, Dick Morris actually made a very good point. We have the House. We're good to go. As long as we've got one chamber of Congress, as long as, Jim Jordan and MTG and Matt Gaetz have subpoena power, we're going to rock the roof off of Congress. Don't you doubt it, especially with those guys, especially with MTG. Tonight, is the FBI after Trump, not after DeSantis? We know how Trump stands on foreign policy. No one knows anything about DeSantis. True. Before he was another Republican in Congress. Very true. I don't, yeah. I mean, obviously they want to take, the deep state wants to take Trump out. Trump is an existential threat to the deep state. I mean, we know that from the whole Russian collusion fiasco. The fabrication there, they all, whether it was Stoke, whoever it was behind it, Comey, they all believed they were justified in actually fabricating evidence because they believed they were doing it for the greater good. So definitely they're trying to take out Trump. You're right. We don't know what DeSantis' view is. My sense is he'll go more populist in his foreign policy. Stephen Connors, I live in Michigan. Last night we enshrined abortion. I know. I saw that up to birth in our Constitution. I got to move. I can't live among such people. I hear you, Stephen. I hear you. I'm in a very, very pro-abortion state myself, and it's very difficult, especially when you have family and the like. So just pray. We have to pray for that. Whitmer is a very wicked person, what she's represented and what she's brought out in that state. T3CH, no, keep up the good work. Thanks for putting yourself out there. Thanks, T3CH. Very, very appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you. I do it for you guys. I love you. Rom, love your work, brother. Please create more Christian-based videos. You do an amazing job. God bless you all. Yeah, I just, because of the election, that's just been the emphasis. One of the things that I love when election season is over, I can focus more on our theological videos because we don't just want to talk about geopolitics. We also want to talk about theopolitics too. So very good. So yeah, I think now with the Cook political report out confirming that it was a +6 Republican turnout on election day, it works in Florida. It works in Texas. It works in Ohio. Ohio's officially a red state now. Iowa's officially a red state. Remember, Iowa freaking voted for Dukakis in 1988. I mean, just let that hit you. They're all solid red states right now. Absolutely solid red states. But that +6 margin, this is what the analysts did not catch. And shame on all of us. One of us should have caught it. All right, shame on all of us. What the analysts didn't catch was that +6 means nothing when you've negated that +6 advantage with a +7 or a +8 or a +20 mail-in vote. You've negated it, and it's not going to make up the margins. Tyrone Draken, I have a Sanford Bishop ad. I couldn't say Trump's name. Seems childish to me. It couldn't say Trump's name. Yeah, that's just being silly. But, people are silly. TW, Dr. Steve, our election rigged when a state reelects someone, a Democrat who died several months ago. Ooh, you didn't even have to be alive. What was he? The Secretary of State? I forget. But yeah, in Pennsylvania. Oh, my heavens. What do you think the media would admit the FBI has declared Jonathan not an insurrection? We will never see the media, the lamestream media, admit anything about J6. J6 has been weaponized. Its whole purpose there is to recast, like we talked about today, it is to recast the very justified patriot quest to bring down a globalist order that we see as inherently immoral. They have recast that quest as an attempt to bring down American democracy. That's how they're spinning J6, and they're going to keep it like that because the lamestream media peddles a narrative, not news. So, great question. I like that kind of question. Let's see what else we got here. Sarah laughs. Thank you for giving us so much hope for the last few years. However, I must say, I miss Rush Limbaugh these days. I do too, Sarah. I do too. I wish Rush was around today. And you know, Rush, I mean, again, we've got all these doom and gloomers, and you guys got, I know, half of them are trolls, right? Half of them are Democrats just trying to disparage us. But Rush was never a doomer gloomer. Never. He was an inherently optimistic person. And I hope I can just continue that optimism. Katie Hobbs ran for basement because she knew she was going to happen. Fetterman was allowed to talk because he knew he was going to happen. I love it. Yeah, I think you got it, Seth. I mean, it's all. But again, keep in mind, and this is key, if your concern is over ballots, not votes, you don't have to debate. Fetterman already had hundreds of thousands of votes in by the time the debate happened. If your concern is about an election organized around ballots rather than people coming out on Election Day, voters, then you don't care. You don't care about debates. You don't care whether you do them or whether you look like an idiot when you're doing it. So I think you're onto it. David Rock, wasn't where you did Christian videos. I'd love to restart my own. Thank you for doing that. Absolutely. One of the bigger ones I have is Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson leaves Joe Rogan speechless on the Bible. That's a good one. You might want to go with that. Lots of good theology in there. Spandon, I think people moving to Florida made the win margin much bigger. Yes, they're called refugees. Much bigger than it would have been if it were for native Floridians, just like Texas. You're absolutely right, Spandon. Where the data is coming out. I know it was a little scary at first, so especially when it came to Californians coming into Arizona or Idaho. But it does seem to now be fleshing out that refugees vote overwhelmingly right. Absolutely. NGTOW Michigander, if Elizabeth Warren runs in 2024, slogan should be, I will give my full one. What is it? 1/24,000th to help you. I love it. Oh, you're so funny. Bringing that back. Oh, boy, you reached into the closet for that one. Adam, you said a Trump-DeSantis ticket was on a few months ago. Yes, wink once if it's true, and you cannot say wink twice if it's no to your knowledge. Okay, to my knowledge, I believe it's still on. Now, my source for that was Robert Barnes, and Robert Barnes said he had some inside scoop into that. So we will see how it plays out. But Barnes has even just said of late, if I recall correctly, that the Trump-DeSantis ticket is still on. It's already been agreed to because it's so advantageous for DeSantis. Trump only has one term to fulfill. You're only allowed to do 8 years. I do not believe it's 8 years back to back. It's only 8 years, as I understand. So you can break it up. You can do whatever you want. So he can only go for 4 years. DeSantis could have an inordinate influence in the government and in governance, particularly on domestic issues, so as to prove his bona fides. Then he wins in 2028, and he can govern for the next 8 years. So in effect, he'd have a 12-year tenure. So that's a pretty darn good deal for any vice president, not just DeSantis, but DeSantis in particular. Let's see. Where are we? Whiskey Fish. I feel good about DeSantis. Nome in 24. Yes, that's another one. 2 renegades who lead their states to positive growth with courage, conviction, and intelligence. Can they get out the rural vote? That's going to be key. And are they going to be able to deal with early mail-in voting that negates these massive margins for Republicans? That's going to be the key. And are they going to be able to deal with Trump? Trump's the Godzilla of politics. So we'll have to see. It's going to be very interesting next few months. Let's see. Trump-DeSantis 2024 to help end anti-white. I can't speak tonight. Anti-whiteism forever. Thank you for the show, Steve. Thank you, Franklin. God bless you, man. Let's see. What do we got? More. I love some of these. Adam, yes. Yes, amen. Amen, Adam. Flight Gamer, I'm older. Trust me, if there was a red wave, the Dems would have used it to blame the GOP for all Biden's failures of the next 2 years. It's better this way. Interesting for 2024. Right. I forget who it was who said it at the beginning. All right. And Tim Pool has pointed that out. Look, we won. If we win control of the House, which apparently we already have, we already got the 6 seats we need for a pickup. We're most likely to get another 6. We'll have at least a dozen. We've already won control. It's the same amount, it's whether you have 1 or 100, it's the same amount of control, okay, for the majority. And it looks very like with Kari Lake just crushing it in Arizona right now. Looks very good for Blake Masters. Looks good for Adam Laxalt. And yes, it does look good for Herschel Walker because historically speaking, incumbents do not. And again, imagine that history works. Historical precedent applies today. That's part of the problem of our analysis over the last couple of weeks in general, bipartisan way. But generally, incumbents who have to go into a runoff don't do well. Just think about the last. Runoffs that happened back in 2021 in early January, right? So anyway, there you go. I think we're good to go. And if we're good to go, if we've won, Katie pulls us out, Laxalt pulls us out, and you got all those weird stuff going on. What is it? Rank choice voting up in Alaska, but it is going to be red one way or the other. But hopefully, what's her name? Why am I forgetting? Shibaka, right? Shibaka. I love the name Shibaka. I'm sorry, I'm thinking Star Wars whenever. But hopefully she pulls it out. She is ahead, so she pulls it out. I mean, I think the narrative changes after that. All right, thank you for that, Flight Gamer. Spandon Cimarron, what are your thoughts on legacy conservatives touting the idea to ditch Trump for Ron? Dems will stand with Fetterman, but the lack of loyalty on conservative side is appalling. It is interesting to say that. I really like the way you put that in terms of a lack of loyalty. Yeah, I just think generally speaking, for the suburban and more four-year degree kind of almost, cosmopolitan conservative. So the National Review crowd, maybe I hate to throw the Daily Wire into this, but why not? For a lot of them, just Trump rubs them the wrong way. Rural folk love him. They absolutely love you. Still, you go into some deep red rural areas anywhere in the nation, in any state, you're going to see Trump flags. You know that, right? So I just don't think they feel any loyalty to someone they can't really relate to and that they find very polarizing. But I'm with you. I think the party as a whole is very loyal to Trump. I think that as the data comes in, we're finding out this was not Trump's fault. This was an administrative, this was an impletive fault of the powers that be of the Republican establishment that did not take seriously the threat of early mail-in voting in key states. Had they done so, that Republican +6 turnout would have worked its magic, the very magic we thought it would work, but we were working with pre-2020 mentalities, in full honesty. That's what we were doing. And those days are gone, that's for sure. Great question, Spen. Thank you for that. John Zaccaro, just tuned in, honestly feeling cheated. Yep, from yesterday. Sick and effing tired of rhinos. Amen. Mitch and Kevin need to go. Pennsylvania's embarrassing and avoidable. It most certainly was. God bless you and your work. John, absolutely. God bless you. Yeah, and guys, part of this, just feel free if you just want to say your piece to, what do we got? We got 12,000 people. If you just want to say your piece, I'll read it for you. No problem. Keep it. That was beautiful, John. You just, that was from the heart, dude. I felt that. Wow. I know what you mean. And Pennsylvania was embarrassing. Embarrassing in every way, if you think it through, even for them, for Democrats, to take glee in that. But it's temporary, and that's what we're focused on. Barbara, you are amazing. Thank you. It's very kind of you. You are amazing, Barbara. Flytrap. Do you think the Republicans will get anywhere with the Hunter Biden laptop? Yep. Morris was already talking about it today. They've already been talking about it. Yeah, I think impeachment's still on the table. We'll have to see how it plays out with the smaller majority. But I think they're going to do everything they can to kick Biden's ass. Anton, I just got here. How's Kari doing? Let's look. I have my New York Times. She was down by hundreds of thousands of votes last night. She is now down by 7,000. So she is surging, and she should take the lead any time now as these votes come. With 70% of votes in, so massive amount of votes coming in. Another 30%. The vast majority are, as I understand it, election day voting. They're going to go for Kari. She'll probably win by around 3%. That should be enough to do it for Blake Masters. Pray. Everybody keep praying. This is not over. We can still, again, I like the way Dick Morris talked about it. We did have a red wave in North Carolina, in Florida, in Texas, in Ohio, big time. Ohio is solid red right now. Remember, it used to be a thoroughly purple state. In Ohio, in Iowa, we had in Kentucky, in Oklahoma. They were actually at one point saying, "Oh, Democrats might steal a governorship from Oklahoma." Yeah, he won by like 20 points. I mean, we're seeing red states got redder. And it's continuing because for some reason, Nevada and Arizona have third world voting systems. It's continuing today and in Nevada until Saturday. That's the difference between Arizona and Nevada. That's the one thing that makes me nervous about Laxalt. Laxalt's been leading now for about 12 hours. He's been in the lead, 3% lead or so. And but they keep, they're going to keep looking for votes. By the way, that works the other way. Anything outside of Clark County, it's going to be very red. So they have until Saturday to bring in all the votes. It's just insane. But anyway, Arizona doesn't have that problem. Everything, as I understand it, is accounted for now in Arizona, and it's just counting the votes, all accounted for. And as we count them, it looks like they're predominantly breaking towards Kari because they're election day votes with that +6. So she should win by a +3. It'll be really, really, really cool. Keep in mind too. It was really neat. Zeldin, I think, how did I hear it put? Zeldin did 17 points better than the last Republican running for governor. He did Lee Zeldin did better than anyone since Pataki. So we're talking 30 years. I mean, it was really impressive stuff. He was 17 points higher than the last, I think, Republican that had run. And DeSantis was 19 points higher, 19 points higher than the last time he ran. So we're seeing a massive switch to the GOP. It's pretty impressive stuff going on there. Well, the argument is that wave, for lack of a better term, though I know we're all a little disappointed, not quite the wave we were thinking, right? But that wave is continuing right now in Arizona and Nevada. It's pretty. I mean, if we could go down ticket in Arizona, it's going to change the narrative. It really is. Arizona becomes MAGA country. Into night, what Trump did in 2016, especially to a lot of Latinos, was wake up call. We didn't care about U.S. politics before. Plus, the biggest problem in America is not the definition of woman. It's the definition of man in tune. Dude, that's fire. It's not what is the definition of woman. It's the definition of what is a man. Dude, you earned your knight at the end there. That is chivalrous talk, man. That is so cool. That's neat. You see, I didn't know that. That is neat. The argument that I understand is up to about 2016. So 2018, 2020. Latinos, by and large, again, most conservative demographic in the country in every survey, right? Most pro-life, most pro-family, most pro-religious, pro-faith, by far, of any demographic. But we're nevertheless still sort of caught up in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, cultural Marxist identity politics stuff. So as many ethnicities and immigrant populations are. My wife is Asian, and Asians tend to be Democrat. They're conservative. They're very family oriented. They tend to be very, at least religious in certainly a ceremonial sense, whether it's a Buddhism or Shintoism or Taoism or Confucianism or Christian. But they were always Democrat because for some reason Republicans were these kind of waspy, KKK guys and so forth. And now we're breaking through that. 40% Latino this time around. Brilliant. It's fantastic. Up from 30% in just over 30% in 2020. And 41% Asian, which is very good. And so I think it was like a 38% non-white crowd. Of course, Democrats have lost whites since 1964. That's the last time whites voted for a Democrat, Johnson. All right, what else do we have here, guys? How long are we doing? Woo! Getting tired, gang. I'm getting tired. I love you guys. I want to keep going. Yeah, Murkowski is losing. Sailing Star Catcher. Were you over there just now? That's what I saw. Murkowski was losing by over 3,000 votes. She has to go. Masters winning would be icing on the cake. Amen. And Shabaka would be a great senator. Kerry will clean up Arizona. She will. She'll be amazing. Wisconsin is struggling with Never Trump rhinos. Rhino Voss, I know, in the is it the state Senate, if I recall? Is he the Senate or the House legislator? And no one to replace him. That's a big problem with Wisconsin. It's a big problem with Pennsylvania. Remember, after Mastriano got the nomination, virtually all of his competitors, it was a crowded field, turned around and endorsed Shapiro. It was just beyond discussion, the Democrat. Even Oz, as I understand, this is a little inside baseball. Oz had an advisor and a fundraiser on his board that was raising money for Shapiro. So I'm with you. They're doing it for a business, and the permanent political class is their gravy train. That's what we need to bring down. All right, what else do we got here? You guys are awesome. We're just going. We're rocking. Fox News is Republicans at 49 Senate seats. Okay, so I'm assuming they're just calling Alaska. That's what I'm assuming, because it's either going to be Murkowski or Shabaka, and Murkowski is running as a Republican. So I guess it was just for that rank choice system that I still don't understand. Thank you guys for not even asking me what it. Can you please explain the ranked choice voting system? No, I've looked it up on YouTube once, and I got confused within the first 30 seconds. NoobTube, I think Pennsylvania is more embarrassing for Dems. There's a part of me that so gets that. That's the way I feel when I look at the pictures, and that I'm just thinking, so this is you. This is the symbol of who you are. I think Pennsylvania is more embarrassing for Dems. Oz, an outsider with no roots in the state, that's right, and cosmopolitan and no connection whatsoever to rural voter. He nearly took it. Imagine if he was a stronger candidate. That's right. Fetterman would be losing. Yeah. But again, they have to deal. The key is he would be losing in terms of ballots, right? He'd be losing in terms of ballots, but not. I'm sorry. He'd be losing in terms of votes, but not ballots. Votes in terms of in-person votes, traditional voting, but not this mail-in system that the Democrats have perfected. And again, I'm not saying there's anything. This is fully within the laws they've passed, fully compliant with their laws. That's why I said it's not general. It's specific to states, blue states, and Michigan and Pennsylvania. It seems even Georgia still has a little bit of that, but not as much. Kemp cruised to victory. How people voted for Kemp by a 9-point margin, and then Warnock is winning by that whatever percent, forcing the runoff, I have no idea. What kind of schizophrenic voter that is, I can't even fathom it. So the point being is, your point is very good. It's right. But we have got to learn how to strategize and implement our own ground game when it comes to mail-in votes with those particular states. We've got to do that. And it doesn't even have to be Republicans per se, because Republicans don't like voting by mail. We're overwhelmingly election day voters. So so we're gonna have to think that one through and what that's going to entail. Obviously, some kind of disengaged voter that the Democrats have thus far been able to engage and get them to vote the right way. We're going to have to do something akin to that as well. Flat Matrix, tens of thousands of New York voters moved to Florida. New York could have been red. You are bringing up a very interesting point that's coming up in some of the analysis. To what extent does the left UG phenomenon begin depleting blue states of red voters? It's an open question. This is going to have to we're going to have to see a study on that at some point. I think you're absolutely right. Joy Van Deel, have a great night, Steve. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Joy. God bless. Get some sleep. We all need some sleep. We were up real late last night. John Zaccaro, honestly want to start fighting for Trump and MAGA in 2024. I also live in Delaware. My condolences. And I want a shot at turning it red. Also in Pennsylvania, Karl Rove working for Shapiro. You heard about that. It's another one. Snake. Rhinos and political class have to go. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you, John. Absolutely. Amen. Couple more here, guys, and then I got to turn in. I'm exhausted. Insanity Pepper, I'm not sure what all the doom and gloom is about. We flipped the House and may flip the Senate. Isn't that what we want? Yeah, Insanity Pepper, you're right. I mean, putting in perspective, of course, but we wanted liberal tears. We wanted humiliation. I mean, let's be blunt. We wanted a red tsunami. We wanted this to be an election that our grandkids ask us about, and we didn't get it. So that could, I mean, that means we're hungry. It means we're rocking. It means we're fired up. We're ready to fight. So that's what I mean. I think we need to channel all of this energy and make this happen. Also, I think too, midterms are traditionally, they're a, what's the word I'm looking for? They're a release for the 2 years that the opposition party had to endure with the party in power. It's a release to be able to see them walking with their tail between their legs out of here. Just think of how sweet 2016 was, right? And to be denied that is really rough. To be denied that. Granted, we won, but the winning is just so anticlimactic, the way it gets drawn out over days now with this new normal. So, but great point, and thank you for reminding us to put this back into perspective. All right, where are we? Peter Quincy Taggart, Dr. Turley, thank you for everything. I want to say that we have felt so battered by the left, the media, and the lockdowns. We want the tsunami as some kind of justice. That's it. That's it. That's nailed, Peter. You nailed it. It's like we were denied justice. That is. Do you guys feel that? Doesn't that give you like, that's it? You hit it. The tsunami was justice. That's why we didn't just want the red wave. We wanted a tsunami. And we didn't get it. So it just feels so incomplete. So we're going to have to lick the wounds. And then when because we're a people of faith, family, and freedom, and when we greet that morning sun, that dawn, when we think about our upcoming Thanksgivings and our Christmases, and the life that we've been blessed with on a daily basis, we'll have a Republican Congress. Make it feel all the more wonderful. And it looks like we'll have a Republican Senate. So, Peter, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. Maggie, thank you. So sweet of you. That's so cute. A little dance. Remember, I'm a small guy, right? I'm 5'5", so I kind of feel like that guy. All right, guys, it looks like that's about it. Oh, Katie, showing up to the party late, Katie. What do we got here, girl? Dr. Steve, thank you for what you do for us every day. Do you know why they haven't called Alaska for Republicans yet? It's just it's the vote turn-in. We're a third world nation. I mean, Norway can get it done in a day, in an evening, right? Europe doesn't have a problem counting votes. Have you ever noticed that? European elections are done on a Sunday. They're done. Even Brazil was able to do this massive election in a day. Yeah, I know. Right, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and all that. But yeah, I don't know. Alaska, I guess they have to fly in the votes. I don't know. So it's taking forever, but it does look like Shabaka is going to pull this off, which is good. All right, I just saw one go over here, get past me a little bit. Don't you get past me. Persona Charles, the tsunami will put us back to sleep. Whoa. That's like some ancient wisdom right there. A tsunami will put us back to sleep. That is interesting. In other words, okay, so we win the House, we win the Senate, we get everything we needed, we win the majority of governorships, we win the majority of legislatures, with some super legislators to boot, like in North Carolina. But it's a slim enough margin, and the media, the lamestream media and the Democrats are invigorated enough because they avoided a super ass kicking that they get snarky, and what's some of the word? Remember, my brain shuts off after 9. It gets sort of snarky, and they get in our face. They get cocky, complacent, overly confident, and it always reminds us precisely what we're fighting against. Yeah, I love it. You guys, I'm so glad I did this. I'm so glad I did this tonight, because you are absolutely firing me up. John Zaccaro, Hebrews 10:23. Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. Amen. Garrett Urbaniak, hello, Dr. Steve. We had Proposal 2 pass in Michigan. What can we do to keep the demographic from cheating? Let's see. Let me just check Proposal 2, Michigan. Yeah. That's what they're doing. They're enshrining, creating 9-day early voting period. They're enshrining 2020. And what we're going to have to do is that's going to be the new Republican Party. The new GOP is going to be one that is going to fight back against that. Not fight back it, but it's going to learn to utilize it and harness it to its own advantage. That's what we're going to have to do. All right, Garrett and everyone, God bless you guys. It was awesome chatting with you. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys were wonderful. The Kiefer, I feel the crest fall like so many conservatives, but victory still at our hands, just in an unexpected form. God bless you, Doc. And God bless you, the Kiefer. Thank you, guys. Let's rock and roll. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Some new videos, and analyze particularly what's going on in Arizona. It looks very, very exciting. God bless everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.